All of that then sets the stage for unions to assume a tremendous amount of moral authority to craft an opinion that satisfies the intellect while also leaves people feeling morally unsatisfied, and that co-opts a culturally toxic, labor-adjacent message to allow them to call for unfettered radical change. Now, union leaders have the ability to combine their agenda with their political goals and say stuff like this.
Outrage is not enough. As a longtime preschool teacher and a mother,
I think about our members, millions of them, coming out with each mobilization growing in their activism.
That unions have to play a role of sanctuary. What we are doing is rooted in the Black men who ferried my family to the north.
Notice that there's usually a racist angle, even though Title IV protects against race-based discrimination.
Because those of us who understand the real history of this country know that it was enslaved Africans.
For me, the thorn was this administration's attack on public education, on educators themselves, on immigrants, on the foundation of our democracy, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Because yes, the election may not be as free or as fair as we want it to be, but we also know that we need to show that majorities of people are against this regime, and we need to be able to vote Trump out.
I see our members organizing for power, building that power.
But here's the thing that people concentrate on. This is why they want to talk about us in the halls of Congress, because we understand the premium of transformation.
In every one of these clips, union leaders are in some way taking whatever social issue is biggest and using it to push a narrative, regardless of if that narrative is related to labor issues or not.
Together we will keep pushing forward, and together we will succeed in our fight for justice, for dignity, and a future rooted in freedom and solidarity.
Know that the NEA will continue to use our vast network. 3 million members, 51 state affiliates, 14,000 locals. Members in every congressional district to advocate and to partner.
This is coordinated messaging meant to blur the lines between labor advocacy and social agitation. And if we cannot figure out the difference between the two, then babe, union leaders have us right where they want us. And the people who are getting caught in the crossfire are public employees who did not sign up to be pawns in ideological warfare. And unfortunately, the people who are receiving most of the fallout of this are students and communities and families who are being weaponized by government unions to pay the price of advancing their agenda. And what do I mean by that? Well, I will tell you, because unlike a union leader, I'm not going to sit here and toss an inedible word salad for you to not enjoy. I mean that union leaders like Randi Weingarten and Becky Pringle use community and family issues that do not relate at all to labor policy to manufacture unrest in their unions and then guilt their members into intense activism related to that particular thing. I don't need to tell you a ton of examples. Honestly, just go look at any of AFT's recent press releases. They're all garbage. But I will tell you one from last year that's related to the Starbucks worker strikes that Randi Weingarten decided to weigh in on. So Starbucks is a private company, which is not the sector that AFT operates in, who does not employ the profession of teachers to do their work. They employ baristas, and AFT works with educators and teachers. So AFT logically has no reason to comment on this, but Weingarten saw an opportunity to tap into that population and utilize that unrest to gain popularity with a decisively anti-capitalism crowd that allowed her to bridge further into the private sector protesting, where it has also allowed her to go onto other avenues of really outrageous and inappropriate political commentary. And even if, again, to play devil's advocate, if there are people who want to partake in the culture war, they can do that on their own time with their own money. Bestie, we live in a free world where you can do that on your own time. But a union who does not operate in the private sector should not be manufacturing outrage related to that sector. Also, I just want to say, do you notice that whenever there is a peaceful protests in a parade, Randy Weingarten and people like Stacey Davis Gates are right at the front holding their banner, making sure that they're on camera, that they're with all their people, standing with the people and for the people and whatever the BS they say. However, when it comes to this intense no justice, no peace rhetoric and things get ugly, union leaders are nowhere to be seen. Who pays the price for this activism? It is not the union leaders who are up there pulling the strings, it's you. And what does that say about what union leaders think of you? Thanks for watching the new Frontline podcast. Hit that subscribe or follow button to stay up to date on every episode we post, and drop a comment down below. Do you agree, or is there something we missed?